Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Garden. I wanted to share this moment from stream. I don't typically port my VODs over to YouTube, just because I usually play music and stuff like that. As an aside, I have changed it so that the music doesn't save onto my VOD. So now I can port those over without having issues of copyright strikes and stuff like that. But I wanted to share this moment from stream because I feel like this is really important stuff to talk about. I wanted to kind of share with the people over here who might not watch the streams live, but I hope that you enjoy. It's a segment. I was talking to someone in chat about improvement, and then we went on to talk about the importance of taking rests and avoiding burnout and what causes burnout. So I think that this is really informative and something that a lot of people need to hear, especially in creative fields. So let me play that for y'all, and let's get to it. So I quickly figured out as I was editing this video that the music was too high and I couldn't mute the music without also muting my voice. So this is just me summarizing what I'm saying. Right here I am talking about how hard stained glass is to draw correctly and how I learned. And then I'm not afraid to pull up things that I've abandoned or things that I've never finished, those kinds of things, old stuff. This is something that I drew early last year that I wasn't confident in. I had much more of an anime style. I wasn't really good at much of anything that I can do now because I had lost a lot of my fundamentals. But when you work on something like this, is one of the best ways to learn is just stare at it until you feel like you can't stare at it anymore, and then stare at it some more and practice. Come up with different things that use what you're trying to learn, and that will ultimately make it so that those things look better in your artwork. You kind of just have to play, you know. This right here is flamboyant Gothic. It's a period of high Gothic. That was in the late stage of it. It's one of my favorite things. I studied a little bit of art history in school when I went, and it's something that I really enjoy. I've studied a lot of different styles of those types of rose windows, so I've put in work to learn how to draw them. There's definitely things that I could improve in this. There's definitely things that make it so that it's not perfect. But one of the nice things about artwork is it doesn't have to be perfect. Once it comes together, it comes together. So when I first started doing art full-time, I was coming off of a 6-year hiatus, and I really needed to make sure that I wasn't a perfectionist during that time. Because it makes it so hard. It makes it so that you spend so much time hating on what you're doing, and then you don't want to do it anymore. I've found through freelancing that if the client is happy, then it's good enough. You don't need to change anything about it. You don't need to focus on the things that went wrong with it. You just need to make sure that if somebody else sees it as okay, then you see it as okay as well. That perfectionist mindset only hurts you. It's the hardest thing as an artist to break that perfectionist mindset. But like, it's also one of the things that's most important to break, because nothing is ever perfect. You can have something as well renowned as the Mona Lisa, and I'm sure that Leonardo da Vinci saw mistakes in it. There are still times where I personally am not happy with something that I've drawn. There are personally some things that I'm just like, I want to delete and start over. But I find when I start feeling that way that I am close to a breakthrough in my artwork. There is something that is bothering me about my art, and I'm starting to see what it is, so I can then break that down and stop doing that thing. your best way to progress in your style and your best way to improve and do well is to just study your own work, study the works that people do that you enjoy, and try to implement those things, make them your own, practice until your mistakes, your flaws, turn into something that emulate your style, and then it's no longer something that's, bad, it's something that's intrinsic to your work. There's no right or wrong way to do artwork. It's art. Like, you can make art in any way. There's thousands of ways to use the tools that you're given. You just need to figure out how to stop hating what you make. You can see here as I'm talking, I'm using a lot of line tools and stuff like that, because I've just found it's easier than trying to freehand everything. It's no different than using a stencil or a ruler or something like that in traditional work. These are tools that are there for us to use. And then the person in my chat said Inktober broke me last year, and so I said, Inktober, oh man, I've noticed that most people don't start Inktober on October 1st, and then I started talking about my 6-year hiatus, and how I tried to do, challenges like that. It's very, very hard when you burn out. It makes it so that you don't want to do the things anymore, and then you lose that spark. When you're starting to feel like that, don't push yourself. You need a rest. You need to be able to step away. Challenges are meant for practice, first and foremost. If they're making you not feel good about your work, if they're making you not feel good about how you work, then they're doing more damage than they're helping. They're not turning into practice. They're not turning into habit. And you're ignoring your own mental health and your own need for fulfillment if you completely push past all of your limits and boundaries. I went to school for screen printing, and I did 4 to 5 studio classes every single semester. And by the time I was done with school, I did not want to touch my artwork anymore. I stopped drawing for 6 years. I picked drawing back up again in May of 2020, and then I quit my job in October of 2020. So that's how close it was between coming back to artwork and doing my full-time stint as a freelancer. I lost 6 years of creativity because I pushed past and ignored every single one of my limits for 4.5 years in order to get my degree. There's no shame with taking 1 or 2 classes instead of 4 or 5. There's no shame with taking a break. There's no shame with stepping away. It's healthy to do other things. It's healthy to get out of that mindset of create. I burnt myself out so badly, I didn't think that I would ever draw again. I very nearly completely killed my creativity. That was what I said to the person in my chat. But you need to learn how to not feel guilty for doing something else. Just because you are an artist or a creator or, a writer, podcaster, whatever you do, if you need a break, if you need to do something else, it is important to take that break. Maybe not just, I'll do it later in the procrastination sense, but if you've been drawing for 8 hours and you take a break to play a video game or to eat or whatever, that is not something you should feel guilty over. That is how you burn yourself out. That is how you hit that burnout where you no longer want to do the thing that originally was giving you, passion. It was making you feel, good about the things that you can do. You have talents, but that doesn't mean that you need to use them constantly. like, I'm still to the point, I just said in the VOD, I don't know what I'm doing, but not doing it feels worse. So I still don't know exactly what I want to do with my artwork. I'm still doing freelancing. I'm still wondering whether or not I should go for doing a shop. I'm still wondering whether or not I should go towards studio, towards, comic work, towards... I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to do this. So when I know that I'm feeling like I don't want to do this, I need to step away. And I keep talking about that a little bit more in the VOD, but I think I'm going to end this here because I've pretty much summarized my point. Do not let yourself burn yourself out because you feel guilty for doing something other than what you feel called to do. It's worth it to just relax. It's worth it to give yourself time with friends. It's worth it to give yourself time with family. It's worth it to, lay in bed all day. If you need a day to lay in bed, like, you need time to clean, you need time to take care of other areas of your life, and you can't put 100% into one basket 100% of the time, because it just doesn't work that way. But I hope that you guys enjoyed that little snippet. I'm sorry that it's not the original sound from the VOD. Unfortunately, I do wish that I could use that sound. But I will, from now on, not have music tied to the VODs so that I can share moments like this a little bit easier, and so that my stuff doesn't get muted. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Until the next time the sun goes down, I hope that you all have an amazing, amazing rest of your week. Bye, everybody.